So our next session focuses on something every club fears and every strong sporting department masters. Making high-quality decision when time is running out. Please welcome Fernando Matos with the topic Scouting under time pressure, finding value fast. Matos, thank you very much.
Hi, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. First of all, I want to thank, in the name of Edvard, all the staff, because it's a great conference, top conference. And if you talk about the first one, I think we need to look as a different start of a new congress. And I hope we'll be in the 10. It will be good. I will try to talk with you about this team. But first, I think he's right here. To understand my context, I started as a coach, maybe almost 30 years ago. Then I passed to scout. I work in others field. PAOK and Shakhtar as a scout. And then, until now, this is the third season, I'm in Famalicão as a chief scout. This is my context, and I think it's very important to you to understand why I talk the rest of the presentation. Scouting under time of pressure. This is my theme, finding value fast, but I will talk with you the opposite. So I will try to explain how we work to don't have that pressure, normal pressure in the end of the market when the market starts, the window, and how we can work without having to find the value fast, because this is a problem for all the departments, to all the clubs, to work in these conditions. And before this, I will try to, this is my true. This is not the true. Because football is a context very democratic. We can work hard and don't have success. We can be reactive, like we talk in the next slides, and have success. It's very different, but I prefer to work in this way. So I will tell you my true and not the true, and I think it's important to understand that. I start with this because it's very important when we start a market to understand that normally the perfect is a problem for us. And very good sometimes is better than the perfection, because we try to find the perfect player. We try to don't lose that player. And sometimes we make mistakes, and the player fly, and we don't have nothing. So, in my opinion, work to find the perfect solution, but normally the very good solution it's okay. We start to understand that we have two windows different, and this is the most common reality of the clubs. We have the summer window, when we have a strategic planning. We have time, we have detailed comparisons, we have everything. And in the winter, just to solve problems. We have a full review, we have calming negotiations in the summer. And I call the first window because some countries is not in the summer, the first window. But in this winter, for Portugal, this is the second window. We have immediate needs, acceleration decisions. This is the common. But what should be different? In my way of work, I prefer to look for one window. Not the first and the second, not the window and the summer, but one window. And work in the same way. I think it's important to understand the reactive and the proactive solutions. working a reactive solution, for me, is like a lottery. We normally need only the contacts. We only work with the phone, normally, in the reactive. And we are always working in panic. We have limited and more expensive options. And normally the decisions are emotional. Not strong decisions, but more emotional decisions. If we have proactive, we have time to work. Those we prepare in advance. Normally, we prepare a window in 2 years before. This is the normal, in a proactive way. And we have constantly list updates. In a reactive profile, we don't have time. We focus more on contacts. I said before, we work with the phone in a reactive way. We have poor strategic vision. Without future development, high costs, and we don't have a sporting director, sporting identification. So every 6 months, we change everything. In proactive profile, we have time, we have focus in the database, we have a strategic vision, we have future development, we have long-term sporting identity. So our way of work, of course, is the proactive way. And we try to don't have these problems, because if you work with a reactive way, we cannot discover player mentality. And we try always to discover the mentality of the player. And it is not easy to discover in 6 months before we will start to work, start to look to the player, try to find his mentalities. If it's the top mentality to work in our club, if you work in a reactive way, we have 3 days, 2 days to take a decision, it's impossible. If you have an urgent player to buy, the club that we want know that is an urgent. So the decision, the negotiation will be not easy. And imagine what we cannot see. And this is something that I will speak further. In my opinion, they are the urgent needs we have in the market. Last-minute injury, we have sales, we can change the coach, and we can have poor ranking or poor performance. This is, in my opinion, 5 of the reasons that we have to the next market. But only one could be a reactive way. Last-minute injury. All the other ones we know before. Now, imagine you have 2 weeks to start the market. I know if I have, or I suppose that I have players to sell. I know if I can change the coach, even if he receive a proposal, or the poor ranking in the classification. I know all of these things. Last-minute injury is the only one that I don't know. So, in my opinion, with this context, we can be prepared to the window. And how we can prepare? How I prepared my window. These 6 things I will speak with you. First, we don't work with the phone, only with the phone. We work with my team of scouts. We work with platforms. We work with data. And of course, we need to work with agents. We cannot say that we only work with scouts and data and computers. We need the agents, of course we need, because sometimes I receive a player 3 months before the window, and I already know that it's possible to buy the player, to sign the player. And this fast information is very important. So only the agents know. But we need to work for a window, a perfect window. We need to work with agents that we trust. Agents that give us good players, that focus on the player's career. I think in my club is very important to a middle step, and sometimes the agents and the player prefer to jump to the higher clubs, and we can be the middle, and that career is important that the agent understand that. The agent need to know our reality. If not, we are losing time. And have to have negotiable skills to the clubs that we want to buy. This is, of course, what we are looking for some players, some opportunities, players that don't have minutes, end of contract, and wrong environment. And we all try to be the best environment for the club, for the player. We have a timeline scouting, and in this timeline I show you because, in my opinion, I put in blue the month before the winter window, and in red the summer. For us, it's the same. We work and we try to make a shadow like the first window. Always be the next window, not the winter of... in our department, we have to prepare solutions for all the positions, like we will lose a player, like we will sell a player, because sometimes we don't think that the player will be sold, or he will sold, and for nothing we will receive a proposal and we need to sell, because we are not different from 99% of the clubs. They need to sell. They need to make money. We are not different, of course. I put a introduction point in the winter process, because normally we look to the winter process different, and we try to one-page report just small things in the winter process. We try to define all the criteria, and we try to have a direct communication. And my question is, why is different in the winter? This is the same in the summer. In the first window, we have to have these three things. And in the winter, of course, we need to be fast, but in my way of work, it's the same time. We have the same time to the winter that we have to the summer. This probably will be for me, the slide most important to prepare the winter. We have profile of club, game, players, and coach. And these four things is important for success. I don't believe that a team can have a high success without these four things very clear. We need to understand what kind of club we have. Is a club that want to sell? Is a club that just want to have a title? Don't care about selling players or not? We want to buy what budget we have? 3 million, 1 million, no millions. You have to find players without investment. We need to have this very, very, very defined. For me, it's very important that the club, not the coach, but the club defines how we want to play. And this is not a way of playing for this season. It's not a way of playing for 2 seasons. It's a way of playing for the club, not for instance. Why? Because if we have very defined how we want to play our game model, we can define what kind of players we want, and we can define what coach we want. And even in my department, we can make a scouting of coach and try to make a list of 2, 3 coaches that understand the rest, understand the context of the club, the way of work, understand the game model, and play and like to play and feel comfortable to play in this way. And the player's profile, you feel comfortable. Because it's totally different to have a top coach. Imagine in Portugal, we can have a top coach, a Portuguese top coach, but he don't like to play with young people, with young players. And in our team, with average of age 22, 23, we cannot have a coach that, but now I want a more experienced player. We don't have, and we will not have. It's very important to understand this. So these four things, these four profiles, to have calm in the window, need to be totally clarified. Because we can work as a department. I know what the club wants for the summer. I know for 1 year, 2 years. I know because the profile will be the same. And if we are looking for young players, we should try to find the players with 16 years old, 17 years old, and we need to know how it will be our club in the future to understand if the player fits in our game. Intuition. I think we have numbers now. We work with metrics, with data, but in my opinion, we will always intuition, and the scouting, sporting director, chief scout will need always this intuition, because now I believe when I start to be a coach 30 years ago, of course I need to be a scout. I need to try to find players. In that time, 90% intuition, 10% one game I watch. Now I can watch in one day a lot of games of the same player. So the intuition lose some space for this. But one thing is important is potential. And potential is not a number. I believe with artificial intelligence is growing up. But sometimes some things that for me is very important is to understand if the players have potential, the decision-making of the player, and the numbers. I believe in the future, of course, but I prefer to don't believe. If not, our job is not so easy. So, for this reason, intuition we will always need to work. And more than what I spoke, intuition we will need for imagine what we cannot see. Because, like I said, we have a profile of our game, but we normally watch games with a game model totally different from ours. Imagine, we prefer to play in a positive way, but I watch a game only direct. I need to imagine if a midfielder that is in totally different context of mine can play, can have a performance in my way of play. And that I was not, in the game, I'm not watching that. In the numbers, probably they will not speak what I want, but I need the intuitions to understand if that player will fix in my team. A different way of work that I believe is the most important, don't have pressure in the market. We define three kinds of players. Player A for the first team is for the first 11. Play in the first team, and this is a choice for us that is clear he can play in the first 11. We try to have the player B. And what was the player B for us is a player B that training in the first team, and in Portugal we have the tournament of under 23, and he can play in the under 23. In the middle, play even if he played 10 minutes, imagine, 15 minutes, 20 minutes in the first team. He can play some minutes in the middle of the season, the week, and then he can play again on the first team. And then we have the player C for under 23, under 17, and 19. Players that we believe that is ready that have potential to play in the first team, but they are not ready to play in the first team. And normally we don't put to train all training moments in the first team. Why we work like this? We prefer to, in the next window, don't have to sign no player A. We prefer to player B, because in this moment we already have a player B that is ready to play as a player A. He was a player C, maybe, or he came directly for us like a player B. He's not prepared for our team, but we believe that in some weeks, some months, he will be ready. So he's a solution to the game. Probably not a solution for the first 11, but normally this kind of situation gives us a very good and a big surprise. We think that he's not ready, but we send the player B, we give him time, we give all the conditions of the first team, and we don't put pressure on this player. He knows that he has time. And normally, the surprise is we think when we sign that 3-4 months we will be ready, and normally 3-4 weeks he's playing the first 11. He's ready to play, and if you need, imagine a red card of a player, and we are calm, we are confident with this player. So, in this way, normally we don't have that pressure to have a player E, because sometimes after 6 months we have 2 players A in the same position. We have the player A that we already have, and we have the player B that we've signed as a player B, and for 1-2 months he's already a player A. It's a problem for the coach. It's not our problem for the board. So with this way, we believe the pressure will be only if you have an injury. And probably we can fix that injury inside of the club, so you can buy another player B or another player C, because with this way, we don't have pressure in the market, but we can find these players with a budget that we can pay. And the player A, for sure, is a higher budget that we cannot pay. When I say I cannot pay, probably I'm talking about 95% of the clubs cannot pay or don't want to pay. So, of course, we have a shadow, we create a shadow, and in this case, we create a different shadows for player A, B, and C, and in that moment of January, for example, for this next window, we are prepared with names. And as you can see, we put 3 options in the shadow, but the best 2 options, we already know the conditions, we already spoke with the agent, maybe we already spoke with the player. We prefer to speak with only one player. If you lose that player, okay, we can speak with the other one. But for us, our best option, we need to have active negotiation prepared for all the positions. Is our job in the department. Of course, the sporting director needs to work with different things, and he's not focused in all positions. And the owner and the president, of course, is always want when we have a problem, they want to know the solutions. But we have to have solutions for all the positions to have. And this is good because probably in the winter we have 11 or 22 players ready to sign, and we will not sign one. Okay, this is names that we can work in summer, or we can work in the other winter. We have prepared, we know the players, and these players are in our list. So, a perfect window for us. We don't have pressure, and we don't have to watch players fast. So, what we need for us to be in a perfect solution? The player's profile need to be totally defined and clear. The multiplayer A, B, and C, and a shadow dynamic with all positions, player A and B and C defined, and weekly meetings, of course, we need to do that. In conclusion, in 24 hours, one player to sign, are you ready? This is the question we have to do all days, not in the winter window, but all days of our work. We are ready to sign a player. If you are not ready, you need to be proactive to when they open the window, we are ready. Thank you very much for your attention.
And thank you very much, Fernando, for these wonderful insights you shared. Let's open floor for the audience. Does any one of you have kind of question or maybe comment to add or to ask? If not, may I jump in? All right. Previously, actually at the very beginning, you mentioned that you work with Shakhtar, right?
Yes.
Afterwards, you mentioned that players' mentality is playing a crucial part of bringing players. So we know that Shakhtar is usually bringing Brazilians and Brazilians' talents. So my question for you is, how do you manage their mentality for them to understand that they are playing for trophy club instead of just using that club like a scene for the next European clubs?
I think, first of all, in the Shakhtar, they don't look for a middle club. For the conditions that Shakhtar gave to the players, that are top conditions, normally they know that can be the final club. And they think all that can be. Of course, they can go for a higher club, but the owner now is different unfortunately, because of the war. But the owner knows, they know the owner don't want to sell no one. So first they understand that they will stay for a long time. And the mentality is easy because in the time I was there, 15 players are Brazilian, 12 players. Some of them are in the club for 7 years. So to pass that mentality that you came to stay and to fight here in this club, it's easy because of the other players. Some of Brazilian players don't come directly to Shakhtar, so they already been in Ukraine, and some of them, I think, in 3-4, playing the national team. So it's easy when we arrive. I think the biggest problem for the players is the weather, because they leave Rio de Janeiro with 30 degrees and arrive with 25 negatives. That was the biggest problem. The rest, I think, was the club gave all the conditions to the players.
Yeah, but now it's drastically different situation.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Okay. Thank you very much once again.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Matos.